friend, welcome and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews and recaps of my favorite TV shows and movies. So if this is something that interests you, go ahead and like and subscribe. I have a lot more content coming to my channel, and I'm glad you're here. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, y'all. We are back with another recap and review of The Shy. This is season 7, episode 7. This one is called Unfinished Business. Y'all, we are almost done with The Shy season 7. And so far, I am really, really enjoying this season. They really did bring it up and bring it back, and they stepped it up this season with the drama as well as holding on to the family value part of this show, and I think they finally got the balance between the two right. So I heard that they did get picked up for another season. I'm excited about it. So let's just get into it. We start off, we see that it's Darnell's birthday. Happy birthday, Darnell. And we see him at the house, him and his lady love, Miss Jada, and they're sitting there, they're having a drink, they're having a smoke, they, enjoying each other's company. And then Jada realizes that she's going to be late for a doctor's appointment. Now, why she's smoking right before a doctor's appointment, I don't know. But anyway, Darnell says, hey, ain't nothing wrong, is it? She's like, nah, everything should be straight. He's like, it better be. And for me, I'm like, yeah, something's wrong with Jada. And I was right. Next scene, she's talking to the doctor. And if you guys remember, a couple of seasons back, Jada did have breast cancer. We thought that we beat it and that she was cancer free. But we all know that cancer is gross and it's disgusting and it is horrible. And it did metastasize to her pancreas. So, Jada's talking to the doctor and asking her about, treatments. Do I got to start chemo again? And the doctor's like, not this time. You might want to have that conversation with your family and start getting your affairs in order. So, that's kind of a sad way to start the show, learning that Jada may or may not be with us very much longer. The doctor has told her to get her affairs in order. But, honey, we know that we serve a God and it ain't over until he says it's over, and the writers. So we're going to just wait and see what happens with Miss Jada, but prayers out to her. And of course, on a day like Darnell's birthday, she's probably not going to want to come back and tell him that right away. So we'll see how that happens. We praying for you, Jada. All right, so over at Smokey's, we see Damien with his simple self, and he's just sitting there. All of a sudden, we got Hannibal. He rolls up on him like, "Yo, where's my money?" Damien's like, "What are you talking about, man? We were partners in that spades game." And Damien's like, "Yeah, and I told you that I did not want to gamble my money. I told you to slow down and that we wasn't doing it, but you did it anyway. So now you owe me." And so he's like, "Yeah, it's gonna take a few weeks. It's gonna take a few days, and I'll be back." And I don't blame Hannibal because it's like he was telling him at the spades game, stop, you're in too deep. Do not do that. And he did it anyway and lost all the money. So he sees Keith in there and he's like, oh man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have the money. So here go Keith. So how about, you go back there and look and see how much money Emmett got in the back. I know they got some like emergency fund money or something like that. Just go on back there and take the money out. You can always return it before Emmett finds out. And I'm like, all right, Keith, that was the dumbest advice you ever gave him. So he goes over to see Hannibal to give him the money back because he did end up taking the money from Emmett, and he's over at Regis. And so Hannibal is like, all right, is it all there? He's like, yeah. He's like, yo, man, you need some help or whatever. And Reg is like, so what? Y'all was gambling off spades? Like, I've never known anybody to gamble that much money on spades. And I'm like, yeah, Reg, me neither. Especially with this guy here who just learned how to play spades. And so Damien's like, yeah, you can pretty much gamble on anything. Oh, really? What you gamble on? Yeah, I do sports. I do. And Hannibal's like, anyway, like I said, it's time for you to go. And I'm so glad Hannibal did that or tried to do that because what Damien don't want is to get mixed up with Reg and his money. So Damien, it's best that you drop off the little money and just go on about your way. But nope. So they get to talking about how they're gambling and they exchange information. And I'm like, all right, we tried to warn you, Damien, but Anyway, of course, Emmett does find out that he did take the money and he is pissed off. So He's like, yo, what is wrong with you? You took the money, yo, you out of here. And he's like, oh man, please give me another chance. He's begging and pleading for his job. And he's like, and it wasn't even my idea. He's like, well, whose idea was it? I'm like, Damien. Oh my God, Keith is gonna get you. So he's like, well, Keith was just like, you could just take the money and then you could always replace it. What? So Emmett was like, yo, Keith, you out of here, bro. Like, now Keith is messed up. Now you done messed up Keith's money. Hannibal had to come at you with his money. You messing up your own money. Like, Damien, you need to get in a 12-step program, bro, like right away. Cause I don't know what's going on with you. But if he starts messing with Reg before he gets locked up, if you start messing with Reg and his money and start trying to do that with him, it ain't gonna be looking too good for you. So we'll see. Prayers up to Damien, honey. You better get yourself together. All right. So speaking of Reg, we had a lot of Reg this episode. We got Reg, we got Hannibal and Jake. I think they might be at Jake's old spot. And Reg is still in his feelings, talking about, oh, I can't believe you're turning your back on family. I'm like, man, did you understand what you did last episode when you smashed his girl? Like, and plus you're just being so mean to him. I don't blame Jake for getting up out of there. But anyway, Jake is like, listen, who's trying to kill you? And he was like, yeah, I think it was Rashad. He's like, Rashad? Why was Rashad trying to kill you? I don't think it was Rashad, but it's probably Rashad lady, Alicia. And Reggie's like, Alicia? Who's Alicia? He's like, you know, the lady that I showed you a couple weeks ago on the boat, Alicia. She was like, oh man, why does she want to kill you though? He's like, you know Alicia. Alicia was Q and Sunny's sister. And he's like, I'm surprised you didn't know that. And Reg is like, I think I'm supposed to know the whole family tree. Like, I don't know that lady. Anyway, Reg tells Jake to go tell the mob that if any suspicious activity is rolling around, go ahead and blast on them. Any slow moving cars or anything like that, just go ahead and handle it. And I'm like, why would you send Jake over to the mob? First of all, you know that Nuck ain't messing with you, and he definitely ain't messing with Jake. So now you're going to send him in there to deliver a message saying that he needs protection from the mob. So Jake does go over there and he does deliver the message. And as he's about to walk out, he runs into Nook. And he's like, yo, man, what are you doing over here? And Jake kind of grows a pair and kind of stands up to Nook, like, yo, did you try to kill my brother? He's like, man, if I wouldn't kill your brother, he'd be dead by now. Trust to believe. So he was like, listen, if your brother needs any protection from the mob or anything like that, you tell him to come holler at me, but don't nothing move till I say so. So I don't know how this is playing out. It's interesting because if Reg and Nook do kind of join forces, how is that going to play out with Alicia and her plan? It's just a whole lot of moving pieces right now, but Jake's got to go back and let Reg know, don't nothing move until Nook say so. We'll see what happens. All right, y'all. So over at Nooks, we see him, we see Bakari, and Bakari is letting him know about Detective Toussaint rolling up on him outside of the grocery store. And so Nook is like, look, don't talk to the cops. He's like, I didn't. He's like, okay, well, don't talk to the cops and definitely don't talk to Alicia. Then Bakari is like, listen, we only needed you to take care of Duda. Nobody said anything about Rob, you know? And so Nook trying to defend it, talking about, oh, I had to do it because he was disrespecting me. Okay, Nook, let's get this straight. You had to shoot this man in his back as he was walking away multiple times just because you thought that he was disrespecting you. I mean, this guy is a complete monster. I really, really hope he gets his. But anyway, Bakari is like, listen, I had Alicia believing that it was Reg that was involved in Rob's death. And he said, and I did that to protect you. And when he said that, I was shocked because even though I know and I remember him talking to Alicia about that, I honestly didn't know where Bakari was coming from, but now I know that it was calculated and it was on purpose. I'm like, oh, okay, Bakari. So he did that to protect Nook. And Nook is like, okay, and I appreciate that. Thank you for having my back. But what I need you to do is just lay low, don't talk to the cops, don't do anything else until you hear from me. And so he's just kind of looking at him and I don't know, but I will say that I'm very, very disappointed in Bakari. I thought that he was turning over a new leaf, and I see that he hasn't. And I really think that he's going to get in trouble. Nook needs to go. Like, we're done. We're completely done with this. Because if it ain't Reg punking out Jake, then it's Jake. I mean, then it's Nook and Bakari. Like both Jake and Bakari just need to get so far away from these two. And speaking of that, Bakari and Jake do have a conversation, and I thought it was going to go, hey, man, I don't have a problem with you. Hey, man, I don't have a problem with you either. But the way Bakari was kind of leading the conversation is that, well, I can't really F with you because of what's going on between Nook, and Nook is my brother, even though he was like, Nook is not your brother, but Reg is my blood brother. Okay. So when it comes in terms of loyalty, but Makari never had any family, and I guess Nook is maybe the closest one, and he's loyal to Nook. I just think that Makari is gonna get it in the end for being so loyal to somebody like Nook. But we'll see what happens. I just hope that Jake can get out of this, but I don't know. I just don't think Jake and Bakari are cool anymore, and that's really sad to see. So we'll see what happens, y'all. All right, y'all. So over at Keish and Emmett's, we see it's nighttime. Everybody's tired, and Emmett goes in. He's trying to get some adult time started, and Keisha's like, no, not tonight. It's not happening." And so he's like, "Oh man, come on, I'm tired." She's like, "I'm tired too. I got a baby cooking inside of me, and I took care of three of them today. What you got?" And he's like, I guess you can't argue with that. And I'm thinking, okay, Emmett, here's what you do. You pack up little baby EJ, precious as he is, and he is a cute little boy. Pack him up, and per the parental agreement, you take him back over there to his mama house, and that's gonna lighten the load for Keisha. That's all you have to do. I think it's been time enough. It's been enough time with you guys giving her time to grieve and mourn and all this, that, and the third. Now I understand it's the time that she needs. That time with you being away from your son, that's not enough time. And you're going to grieve, and it's not going to happen like, oh, I need 6 months to grieve. No, there's no time limit to it. So you might as well take the little boy back over there to her. Then that lightens up the load for Keish. It helps you all out. I know you was talking about, oh, let's get a nanny and all this, that, and the third, but no, take back over there, because meantime, she's over there. She's got Nook and Vic together putting up a baby crib. And so I'm so glad that Alicia did check that, and kind of and checked her and said, "Listen, what you will not do is have Nook in my house." And she's like, "Why not?" "Because I don't know if he was the one that killed my son or not." And I'm like, "What do you mean? How do you not think that that would be a problem when you know that that woman thinks that Nook was may or may not be still involved?" I know she took out Zay, but I'm saying she still is not 100% sure. She just told you that she wasn't 100% sure. So what makes you think that she would want him in her house, Tiffany? I thought that was just so disrespectful and so wrong. And I'm so glad that she checked her on it. It felt like Tiffany was trying to defend herself. And I was like, let it go, please. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Even she's talking about, oh, Rob was the love of my life. And oh, okay. Because I really think that, well, I know Vic is really feeling her. And I think that she's feeling him as well. So we'll see what happens, Miss Tiffany. But you need to go get your son. All right, y'all. We at the men's meeting. We got the boys. They're all there. We got Darnell, Emmett. We got Rashad. We got Keith, and I think I might be missing somebody, but we got the men. They're all there for the meeting, and everybody's feeling. And we got Vic. That was the one. So everybody's there. Everyone's feeling a little somber because Jamal is usually there. Jamal, of course, y'all know what happened to him last episode. Thank you, Alicia. But he's still fighting for his life. We find out that he is in a coma. The doctors, I believe, put him in that coma, and so we had Dom and Lene. They were there. They have been there. Lene is really worried, and Dom is just trying to, calm her fears and just say, hey, we got to speak positivity. Words have power, and he is going to be okay. And I like the fact that, Lene really saw Dom had her back, and they even talked about being seen in this episode. And I was really happy to see that, how Dom had explained that because of her looks and everything, a lot of men step up to her, but they step up to her just based on what she looks like outwardly. And Jamal was the only one that actually saw her and really, really saw her. And then you hear Lene say, hey, I see you as well. I thought that was great that Lene finally has that, that motherly presence, that woman that could like guide her. I know that Kevin's mom was there, Nina, she was there for a minute doing that as well. So shout out to her as well. We do miss that character, but shout out to Dom for doing that for Lene. I think that was something that she needed. Bakari gotta bring some tire flowers over there to Lene and just say that he loves her and hey, do you want me to stay with you? No, I'm good. You can go ahead back over because you're involved in all of this. Whether you was directly involved or indirectly involved, which you were indirectly involved in all of this because you was the one that told Alicia where he stayed. So nah, Bakari, we good. We good. You can take your flowers and you can go. And that's exactly what Lene did. And I'm so glad that she did it. But anyway, back to the men's meeting. They're talking about how, they want to be safe in these streets. They want to grow old and they want to be safe. And so if y'all can remember a few seasons back, Vic had come up with the idea of having a community police up the community without the cops. And so somebody was like, I don't know if that worked. He was like, yeah, it did work. It worked, but the reason why we stopped it was because I went and I decided to run for office. So they're like, listen, if y'all are ready to do it again, especially Keith about that life. He's like, listen, y'all ready to do it. I'm ready to do it. Darnell's like, man, sit down. You just got out of jail last week. You need to just sit down and be cool. I don't know if Keith is institutionalized or not, but kind of sounds like it. But Keith, yeah, you've done enough, Keith. You got you got yourself fired today, and Damien's in a whole lot of trouble because of you. Like not because of you, but you gave some really really bad advice. So Keith, I think you've done enough, buddy. Just sit back. Anyway, I think that's what they're going to do, and that's going to be interesting to have them out in the streets trying to police up these people. Then you got Alicia trying to do it her way. You got Detective Toussaint trying to do it her way, and with everyone trying to do this their way, something is going to happen, and somebody is going to get hurt. I just think it's too many people trying to police it up. I don't know what happened with just letting the police do it, but as y'all can tell, that the police ain't all on the up and up either. But we'll get there. All right, y'all. Next, we see Papa. It looks like he's just sitting there scrolling on his phone. Looks like he pulled up Sarah, who is the Pastor Ezekiel's boo thing. Looks like he's all in her account, looking at her pictures, and he comes across one that she posted of both of them together. And so, no sooner than he sees that, he also sees that he gets a notification that Master Marchand is going live. So he clicks on the video of Master Marchand, and Master Marchand is letting everybody know, look, we got a problem. Everybody stop what you're doing because we got somebody who is a leader of this community, but has chosen another way to go. And it's not good. So basically, what he's trying to say is because of the fact that Pastor Zeke is seeing Sarah, who is not black, then he has pretty much turned his back on the black community. And everything is black, black, blackety black when it comes to not Pastor, Master Marchand. So he's telling the community, don't give any money to the church. Don't give any money to Pastor Ezekiel. He is a traitor. He is with this woman and he can't tell me nothing because he don't even season his food right. So funny. But anyway, Papa goes to see the two pastors, Charles and Ezekiel, and they know about it by now. And so, Charles is just trying to talk some sense into Zeke, saying, hey, look here, who you don't want against you is black women. Black women love you, but if they think you don't love them, then they're not going to stand for you. So you need to fix this. And so Papa's like, yeah, you need to tell her to take that picture down. And so they're like, man, you're a child. You need to stay in a child's place. And then he said, well, listen, this is affecting me as well because your the comments that the people are making about you is going over to my channel. So Pastor Charles is like, oh, so this is why you're invested. He's like, no, I just don't want people to get the wrong idea about you. So he's like, I got to sacrifice my happiness for the sake of the church. And I'm like, well, I guess sometimes that is the case with pastors. Maybe they do have to sacrifice their happiness for the sake of the church. And it's not right that he has to choose between Sarah and the church. I think that the church should be a little bit more progressive than to write him off because of who he's dating. And if the woman that he's dating happens to not be black, I mean, I don't know what kind of a picture that we're painting about Black women, I think we're a little bit more open minded than that. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some that are not, and there are some that are probably looking at the pastor like, okay, I can't believe he's doing that. This is his, a divorce. First, we have a divorce, and now we've got him with her. I mean, but women that are secure within themselves and are secure within their own relationships and ain't thinking about Pastor Zeke and who he's with could care less, right? And that's how pretty much we all should be, right? The lady ain't bothering nobody, so why is it an issue? But of course, we're going to have it on both sides and it's never going to go away. So, anyway, the pastor's going to have to make a decision because it's already gotten out. Thank you, Master Marshawn. But now I guess the pastor's going to have to decide, does he want to go public with this relationship or, keep it private? But we'll see. All right, so next we see the judge, Judge Tanya, who's Professor Gardner's wife, and Alicia. They're having a conversation. Alicia's talking about how she wants her grandson to grow up in a crime free Chicago. And, you know, hey, either we can do it your way or we can do it my way. And my way is by killing them all. And that's that on that. And so Tanya's like, all right, slow down, girl. We don't need to do all that. I am a judge, remember? So anyway, they get to talking and she's telling her about Reg, and how she wants Reg locked up. So the judge is like, listen, you're gonna have to give me a little bit more than a street name. So Alicia's like, I'll give you everything you need. I will be back in touch with you. Now, I think Alicia did give her the information because later on we see the judge meeting with Detective Toussaint. And she tells the detective that she needs a favor. She said, bring me Reginald Taylor, bring him to me alive and well, and I will make sure that your son gets released out of prison. Now, that's all the detective needed to hear, honey, because I bet you she left her office and started personally combing the streets looking for Reg. So that was probably the motivation that she needed. Like, hey, all I got to do is bring him in to you, and that's it. And I get my son back. Yeah, I'll have him to you by lunchtime. I'm on it. So I really felt like Reg's days are numbered, and they could be numbered in different ways. I mean, who knows? We see him over here hollering at Dante. He was with Dante and Candace. Dante was trying to get him to try some mushrooms. He went out to the car to get the mushrooms, and the next thing you know, he's pushing up on Candace. So here we go again with Reg and just having no boundaries, no self-awareness, no nothing, just doing whatever he wants, like some kind of animal, some kind of monster. And I'm really, really sick of seeing Reg on my screen. I just can't with him. Anyway, we see Tiff. She's at the cigar bar she's meeting up with Nook. And I'm like, why are they meeting up together? What's going on here? Don't tell me they're on a date. I mean, I thought that Tiff was feeling Vic. Anyway, as they're talking, Tiff asked him, is this what you plan on doing for the rest of your life? Just being out here in these streets? And so he's like, that's the only life I know. She was like, people can change. You can do it. And I still don't know if Tiffany feels like Nuck had something to do with Rob's killing. Maybe she's doing this to try to get closer to him so that she can, keep her enemies even closer. I don't know. I just can't see how she's getting so close to Nook like this. But we'll see what happens. There's always a lot of twists and turns with this story. But anyway, after that conversation, you see Nuck talking to the pastor, and he said that he's thinking about coming clean. But he said he feels like, Tiffany is going to probably really hate him if he does be honest and say what really happened. And I'm like, you think you killed the love of her life and she's pregnant, carrying this? I mean, what do you think? If you tell her, you're going to jail. And so the pastor is talking to him and said, hey, how about we just pray? Because Nuck also asked the pastor about him living his truth. And he's like, I don't know. Nuck is like, listen, for the first time in my life, I'm really scared. And the pastor says, me too. That was really powerful. I mean, both of them are scared to really live their lives. I don't think that Nuck really wants to be out in these streets like that no more, but he's too far in. And like he said, this is the only life he knows. But I also think now that he's a father, he sees that there's a different side of the coin and he doesn't have to be. Life is like all about making choices. Just like when Bakari was turned his back when he was walking away from Jake, and he was like, well, I guess we have no other choice not to be boys. Like, why not? There's always choices. You can choose to be Jake's friend and still be loyal to Nook. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So, they decide that they're going to pray. I thought that was a good scene. Um, we see that Jamal has woken up out of his coma. Everything is on the mend there. I'm so happy to see that. We also see in the waiting room that the nurse comes up and says that someone's gonna foot the bill for Jamal's medical expenses. And who is that? None other than the person that brought him to the hospital and caused him to be in there in the first place, Alicia. So of course, Alicia comes over there to, make it known that it was her. Because why not? Instead of just saying, hey, calling the hospital, hey, whatever the cost is, just let me know and keep it anonymous. No, she has to go and say that it was her so that, just like Lene said, these kind of things always come with a price. So, Dom was like, yeah, I don't trust her either, but hey, I don't know how we're going to get these bills paid. So, it is what it is right now. We'll worry about the rest of it later. I don't know what's going to happen here. It's just a lot of moving parts. But we'll see. I'm so happy that Jamal is coming around, and I hope that he just makes a full recovery. Nook, you need to take that to the grave, baby. I don't know. And the pastor meets up with Sarah. She's upset because he's like, "Why did you post that picture?" And she's like, "Listen, you know, tell me what you really want. And when you find out what you really want, then give me a call, because he's saying that he can't have that out in the public because he is a pastor. And that all goes along with what people think. What people think about you matters when you are a pastor. She's like, okay, later for all that. Just call me when you get it together. So I kind of feel bad for the pastor because he can't live his truth, but it is what it is. All right, y'all. So over at Alicia's, we see Rashad. He's coming out the house because I guess he hears a noise outside, and it's Reg. Reg pulls up. He's like, "Yo, man, what you doing over here?" He's like, "Yeah, I came over here to make sure your lady ain't trying to finish up the job of what she started last time." And so they go on to have a conversation. And at first, I thought Reg was gonna try to gaslight Rashad, like, where's your loyalty? Ain't you friends with my brother? You still cool with him? Because you need to be loyal. And so after that, Rashad tells him, listen, I love y'all and everything, but at the end of the day, I'm loyal to me, myself, and I. And after that, they had like a kind of a heart to heart conversation. They reminisced about, back in the day when they were younger. And I think that they got an understanding with each other and there's no problem. So he goes in the house and he talks to Alicia to let her know that he did talk to Reg. She can't believe it. She's like, oh my God, you know him? Because I remember she still thinks that he has something to do with Rob's death, in which he doesn't. Thank you, Bakari. And so they kind of have it out about that. Rashad talks about how he knows her, how he knows Reg, and that all he's trying to do is just live his life. And then she's like, oh, he belongs behind bars. And that kind of disgusted him. He was like, according to who? And who are you? You ain't God. And, and so next thing you know, he's like, man, I'm out of here. And then Alicia pulls him and is like, your shift's not over yet. He's like, well, what are you going to do? Lock me up? And then he just kind of walks out of the house. And I really do think that their relationship is over. And good for Rashad for walking away from that, because I'm not sure what's going on with Alicia. From what I remember, Rob wasn't even really dealing with her when he was alive like that anyway. So, I think that this trying to avenge his death is just maybe going a little bit past, the death of Rob, but we'll see about that. Anyway, we're at the end of the birthday party at the skating rink. Darnell's giving a toast. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to my beautiful wife. And you can see that Jada is just heartbroken, but she's trying to keep, her face together. But I think that Darnell can sense that something's going on. The very next morning, they're sitting at the table and she lets him know that the cancer is back. Darnell is like, well, we fought it before. We can fight it again. And so she just looks at him and she said, not this time. And then he just kind of just fell into her arms and just wept like a baby. It was so, so sad. And I really hope that, Jada's okay and that she fights through this, because, honey, it ain't over. Not until God and the writers say that it's over. So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, that is The Shy, episode 7, season 7. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it in the comments. Feel free, if you want, to leave me a comment, Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you guys the next time we do it. Bye.